Okay, so the first sideline out of bounds basketball play that we are going to look at today is used by Coach Greg Popovich. Now, Coach Greg Popovich used to run this play a lot with the San Antonio Spurs during the Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili era. So that, kind of prime era of Spurs basketball that, made Greg Popovich known as such an amazing head coach, right? So in this particular play, they start up in a box form, as we can see here, right? We start in a box around the key. Now, what's actually going to happen here on this sideline out of bounds basketball play is we're going to get an easy layup for one of our players. So let's take a quick look at it. So even though we have our inbounder right here, number one, up relatively high, which is what's typically going to happen on a sideline out of bounds play, we're going to be somewhere near here. We're still going to have all of our players in a box, right? So they're going to be low in a box around the key. So what's going to happen here is we're going to have number two push off, and number two is going to come up here to the basketball. So they're going to push off their player. They're going to come up top to the basketball, and we're going to give the ball to number two. Now, what's going to happen from here is that we are going to immediately give a dribble handoff here to number one. So maybe number one can kind of fake that they're cutting that way, but they're going to receive a dribble handoff here from number two. So number one's going to then receive the basketball back. Now, what's going to happen then for number two is going to get screened on by two back-to-back screens from number four and number five. So how this will look, number four is going to come up and set that first screen here for number two, right? And then number five is going to come to about right here and set another screen. Maybe we'll get that a little bit higher, actually, just for the sake of the room that we have on the floor. All right, we'll have the first screen here. We'll have the second screen here. Number two is coming off both of those screens. Now, what's going to happen here as well is number three is going to come up and set a screen for the ball. So the ball with number one in the ball in number one's hands rather is going to come about to right here, and then they're going to find number two wide open. So number one with the basketball, like I said, they're coming right here after that first screen was being set by number three, and then they're going to see number two wide open under the rim. So let's take another look at it. Let's reset. If we change up our numbers a little bit, it's not the end of the world, right? Let's just move some of these folks around for the sake of this. And again, what's going to happen to start? Number five is going to push off. They're going to come up here, right? We're going to receive the ball. Number one is kind of faking that they're going that way, and they're going to receive that dribble handoff from number five. Then we have number two, in this case, coming up to set that first screen, and then number three right here to set that second screen. Number five is looping around to the basket, and as that happens, number four setting a ball screen here. Number one is going to dribble a little bit over to the side, maybe even inside the three-point line. They're going to feed the ball into number five for the wide open layup.
Okay, our next play here is called Boomerang. And what we're going to look for here are two different ways to get easy baskets from a sideline out of bounds basketball play. So let's take a look. Obviously, now number one has the basketball. We're going to switch sides on this one a little bit, and we're going to set this one on the opposite side of the floor. So as you can see here, we have our players lined up pretty much on the opposite half of the floor. Now, what we want to kind of fake here a little bit is that number two might be setting a screen for number four, number three might be setting a screen for number five. But what we're actually going to do is just have number two and number three split. So number two is going to move this way. Number three is going to move that way. So both of those players are going to move. Number two is going to split, and number three is going to split. We want to get the basketball into number three. Now, as that happens, number two is going to come up here and set a screen for the inbounder in number one, and then number one is going to cut hard to the basket. Right, number one's going to cut hard. We might be able to just throw number one in a deep pass. Who knows? We might be able to get it. We might not be able to get it. But if we can't get it, number one is just going to continue cutting. Everybody else is going to fill a spot. And number three is going to run a dribble handoff over here to number two. Number three is going to bring that dribble handoff over. And then you're going to have a dribble handoff for number two to potentially get a wide open lane to the basket. So a few different options here. We want to look for number one on that initial pass. But again, if that doesn't work, then we also have a dribble handoff option over there to number two as well. So a few different options on this one. But again, this one we're kind of looking at something different here. Again, it's easy and effective, but we're also looking to get an easy layup. It's not just to get the ball inbounds on this one, maybe like our stack was. Our stack was a little bit more, okay, let's figure things out after we get the ball inbounds. But for this one, we have two options here to score an easy basket after getting the ball inbounds, which is kind of the most important part of this.
All right, folks, I need to quickly stop right there before we move into our next topic to mention that right now, 97.1% of our daily viewers are not subscribed to our channel. So that means if you are one of these people, if you are one of these 97.1% who are not currently subscribed but are watching this video, it would be greatly appreciated if you could take the time real quick to hit that subscribe button. It will help us continue to make content like this, continue to make basketball plays for other coaches, basketball drills for other players, and basketball, everything that both players and coaches and organizations alike can use. So again, if you could really quickly take the time to hit that subscribe button, it'll just take 2 seconds. It would be greatly appreciated. But moving on to our next topic.
Okay, so for our third and final sideline out of bounds basketball play, what we are going to look at here is a box set, right? So for this one, we're actually going to have the screens being set in a little bit of an opposite fashion. So, typically when you're running a box, you'll have screens being set away from the basketball so that you can have a screener kind of cut toward the basketball. Here we're going to have the exact opposite take place. So what we're actually going to have here is number 5 and number 4 set screens closer to the basketball. So number 5 is setting a screen here for number 2, and number 4 is setting a screen here for number 3. So what we want is a little bit of a decoy here for the defense to think that, our focus is getting the ball into number 2 off of that screen, right? Or, potentially number 3 off of that screen as well, right? But that's not actually our focus. We don't really anticipate that happening. What we're actually going to have is after that screen is being set, number 5 is just going to pop, and number 4 is going to pop after their screens, or after they set those screens, and we're just going to get the ball in pretty easily to number 5 or number 4. Typically, you'll get the ball into the side that the inbounder is on. But honestly, every time I've ever run this play, I've been able to get the ball in bounds. It's just a simple and easy play. Everybody is focused on, the players coming off that screen, that nobody really thinks of the players setting the screen, and it results in an easy sideline out of bounds, basketball play that's effective and works every time. And you also see this run a lot in the NBA. I'll see coaches like Nick Nurse of the Philadelphia 76ers, formerly the Toronto Raptors, often run this play. Again, you're looking at, those players cutting to the basket. You might get it to them, but you're actually going to get such an easy pass here on that pop, from our 2 players up high, our screening players, number 5 and number 4.